Previously on Magoosh Medrek.
Wer gut, verdammt, mein Käse, Red Alert, Vampire!
What the hell do you think you're doing wandering around here in the woods all by yourself?
Belmont?
Oh yeah, he's just my anteater. Belmont Salvatore. Belmont! I'm gonna go into the clearing and play a little song. If a god-cursed werewolf does come, you clock him over the head with that hammer.
What? I can't do that.
(1885). An age of emerging opulence for Europe is dawning as science and industry draw her population centers towards a new and promising century. But in the untamed forests of the East lurk monsters that hunger for violence as they gorge themselves on terror and innocent blood. One man can be counted on to fight back the creatures of the night, and his name is Magoosh Medrek, Vampire Hunter. Slinking out from amidst the twisted trees, as if stepping from the very nightmares of childhood, the werewolf, for indeed that is what it was, stole its way towards the unwitting pair. And if you add Gruyere to the bechamel, it becomes a Mornay sauce. Very tasty. And then?
Add the truffle?
Add the truffle, yeah! 15 paces away, the werewolf slowly stood onto its hind legs.
Okay, thanks. I guess, anyway. If it wasn't a werewolf that killed all those girls, what was it?
No clue. What do I look like, a soothsayer?
What?
Never mind. 10 paces away now. There's really nothing to fear, because if there was a werewolf here right now, I'd just give him the business and be done with it.
What business?
5 paces. You know, the business, with a capital B. It's how you kill werewolves, yeah? You start by negotiating with them.
You talk with him?
What? No. You clock him over the head with the negotiator. Like this! Magoosh seized the giant hammer from the boy and, putting action to word, swung the hammer up over his head in demonstration. And in that backstroke, dear listener, our beloved Magoosh Medrek, the scourge of all creatures of the night, did what he does best and slightly overbalanced. This small shift in his equilibrium as the negotiator swung aloft allowed gravity to gently but firmly grasp his giant wooden mallet and bring it smashing down on top of the head of the werewolf who had been sneaking up behind him, wistful pocket dreams of tearing open Magoosh's throat being knocked from its head. The werewolf was caught completely by surprise, and it wavered on its feet, stunned beyond sound, the breath knocked out of it. Completely oblivious, Magoosh swung the hammer down towards the ground in front of him, images of stunned werewolves dancing in his head. Both the werewolf, having quickly recovered its voice, and Magoosh, who was now in the grip of his own imaginings, each let out a roar of fury and triumph, respectively, as the hammer fell, striking a small stump and sending splinters flying. Otto Schmendrick jumped at the sound and, turning and seeing the source of its roar, went ice cold. All he could do was stare up, at it.
Then, while he's standing there looking like an idiot with his eyes all crossed, you give him a few of these!
And again putting action to word, Magoosh reached behind him, keeping his eyes on Otto Schmendrick, and seized one of the werewolf's arms. Magoosh twisted the creature's forearm in opposing directions like a schoolyard bully and yelled, "Prairie fire."
Prairie fire!
The werewolf roared in pain, but so did Magoosh in a mocking voice, combining with the monster's cry of surprise. Magoosh continued on.
They hate that as well. It hurts like the dickens.
Otto made a small squeaking noise, which was all he could muster.
And don't get me started about Charles Dickens. Have you ever read Edwin Drood? It's a sausage, which is to say, it's the worst.
Magoosh dropped the werewolf's arm, seized the negotiator again, deep into braggadocious storytelling as he was, and took an exaggerated backswing over his head, which, as before, came crashing down onto the werewolf's already traumatized skull, further stunning it.
I mean, the story is good, yeah, but who the hell writes a serialized mystery and then dies before finishing the story?
Magoosh brought the heavy hammer back down on the stump, splitting it in half. Magoosh reached behind him and grabbed the werewolf's arm again, twisting its skin in opposite directions, venting what were quite obviously some deep-seated, pent-up frustrations with a literary legend. The monster roared its bewilderment.
That's just inconsiderate! Anyway, after the prairie burns, then you gotta bash the bishop.
The werewolf was reeling from the unexpected barrage of attacks, but in the deep recesses of its human consciousness, buried and hibernating under fathoms of wildness and pure animal instinct as it always was when the change overtook it, the werewolf's human self faintly registered what that might possibly mean, and at its core, it shivered, afraid.
Bash the bishop? Like...
There was a pause, and then Otto Schmendrick awkwardly started to make a particularly suggestive hand gesture in the air. Magoosh's eyes widened in surprise as he exclaimed,
Not like that, you horn dog! I mean, you gotta kick that werewolf right where it counts, downstairs in the basement. Bash the bishop!
And keeping an eye on the boy, Magoosh wound up his trusty right foot and let fly a devastating kick to demonstrate the proper technique. In reality, Magoosh's booted appendage rocketed in between the werewolf's legs and slammed into everything that it found there, traumatizing at high velocity not only the creature's bishop, but also the rest of the clergy, drawing an anguished yet garbled howl from the beast, which mixed with Magoosh's own rebel yell, as the monster dropped to its knees and blinding white pain ripped through its head.
Oh, you just kicked a werewolf in the balls!
No, that's not what you're going for. I mean, that is, of course, a convenient secondary target, but you really want to go for the hemorrhoids.
Otto Schmendrick had never heard that word.
Hemorrhoids?
No, who's ever heard of hamvoids? The abyss is not filled with pigs. No, hemorrhoids, when the veins in the anus and around the rectum get swollen with blood and hang out of your fox den.
Ew, that can't be real.
Oh, yeah. All werewolves have hemorrhoids. It's a consequence of the change, or that extra skin and alterations in blood flow and metabolism. It wreaks havoc on the nervous system. But this is good for us because hemorrhoids are how you kill werewolves.
Otto Schmendrick was deeply horrified and was about to ask a dozen follow-up questions. The injured werewolf pushed to the peripheries of his awareness. But at that moment, Belmont came creeping out of the woods, having either grown tired of waiting or perhaps drawn by the strange proceedings. He ambled up to Otto, completely unfazed and entirely uninterested in the man-wolf writhing in agony in front of him, and he nuzzled Otto's thigh. Otto slowly looked down at the anteater in disbelief. Belmont appeared to shake his head slightly in implied supportive fraternity. The abject absurdity of his present situation crashed over him, and Otto shook his head. Did Magoosh really not realize what was happening? Did not the extreme and mortal danger in which they found themselves not register to him? Or was he really that skilled at his craft?
Hey, pay attention, boy. What are you gonna do if you meet an enraged werewolf one day in a dark alley and you don't remember what the next step is because you were off daydreaming about schnitzel or whatever ring-a-ding-dings your bell?
Right. Sorry.
And don't apologize.
Right. Sorry.
Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. Bash
Magoosh let rip another devastating kick, which this time made confirmed atheists of all the werewolves' choir boys, thus eliciting a defeated cry from the monster, which Magoosh heard not at all. Having reestablished his rhythm, he turned fully towards the boy.
Und that brings us to step... Verdammt, Käse. Belmont! Was steppen wir an? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, ja. 4.
Fear?
That's what I said. 4. Und all Doomkopf Werewolves fear this part. Die Nase im Buch.
The nose in the book?
Oh, yeah. The nose in the book. Now, once the werewolf is gasping for breath on its knees and questioning its very existence, that's when you whip it out.
And Magoosh reached into the depths of his very stylish but definitely not overly ostentatious long coat and pulled out a large Bible. Otto Schmendrick wondered if there was anything that Magoosh didn't have tucked away in there. The book was ensconced in old faded leather, with an age-worn patina, well used and battered with prominent burns on its cover, and dark red stains on the lower part of the gold-leafed edges. It simultaneously looked like a sacred and scary relic of a bygone era. Magoosh handled it with a reckless abandon that belied both familiarity and a nonchalance that hinted at a complete lack of reverence for its station. This was much akin to being childhood friends with a famous surgeon and seeing her not for her celebrity accomplishments, but with a view of remembering the day that she peed her pants laughing at you while you pretended to be various animals frantically feeding behind the back of the curmudgeonly schoolmaster.
Now watch carefully, because I'm only going to show you this once. If you meet a real werewolf, the proper technique on this can make or break the whole sequence.
And holding Otto's eyes with his own, he opened the holy book to the middle, somewhere between creation and revelation, as Otto's father would have said. Magoosh extended the open Bible on his hands, bringing it to rest lightly underneath the dazed lycanthrope's snout. Then, with a savageness and ferocity that easily could have equaled the full and unbridled rage of the creature before him during a full-blood moon, Magoosh slammed the book shut with a thunderous force, violently mashing the wolf's muzzle in between the pages as he unleashed a primal yell. A resounding hollow boom reverberated around the clearing, and the werewolf's eyes rolled up in its head. It collapsed forward, rear haunches in the air, forepaws uselessly clutching its injured nose, and then it contacted the earth face first, laying there gasping for breath.
Und here we conclude the business. And we finish him off. This Zabanda.
Magoosh Medrek, The Killing Moon was conceived, written, performed, and produced by Sasha Mereu.
Ja, Magoosh Medrek, The Killing Moon wurde konzeptiert, geschrieben, aufgeführt und produziert von Sasha Mereu.
What's going on, Magoosh?
Oh, I just thought that maybe I could add a little flair to your outro, do a translation of what you're saying for some local flavor.
That's a great idea. Okay. Additional voices this week were provided by Dacian Eskridge.
Ich kann es nicht beweisen, aber bin ich ziemlich sicher, dass Dacian Eskridge ein Dechsen ist.
The Magoosh theme and additional music was composed and recorded by Danny Tuggle.
Danny Tuggle hat sich einmal als Biber verkleidet, nach Kanada zu schleichen.
Additional sound effects were provided by zapsplat.com and pixabay.com.
Und Sascha ist ein Verrückter und muss jeden Preis gestoppt werden.
Wait a second, what did you just say, Magoosh? I didn't hear anything about Zapsplat or Pixabay.
Ist verrückt!
What did you say?
Polizei!
What is a Polizei?
What's, oh no! Oh my god! Tune in next week too! Tune in next week! Well, that was fun. Tune in next week for this season's thrilling conclusion and see if Sasha manages to escape from his unplanned but extremely warranted captivity. For now, Magoosh out! I forgot my keys.